Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to our year in review for Shenmue. It's the first time we've done this, and it's a format we're looking to take forward as we go on. Before we dive into the year in review for Shenmue, which, let's be honest, it's very much a year of two halves, I'd like to introduce my co-colleague and co-owner, James. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thank you, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Christmas is out of the way. New Year's hurtled towards us. It's gone so quick, though, hasn't it?
It has, it's mental. Always does, though. I feel like that's one of the things I always say all the time. It's like how fast it's going. It's just as we're ever aging, isn't it? But happy holidays, everyone out there who celebrates Christmas or New Year's or whatever you've got going on. Hopefully you've had a nice Christmas or a nice holiday period. And yeah, Happy New Year if you're watching this prior to that taking place. Oh, well, Happy New Year regardless, even in the new year. It still counts.
It does indeed. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you guys through all the sort of key things that Shenmue has had across the year. I'm sure you can work out what some of them are. They're blindingly obvious, such as the anime, and then some less obvious ones as well, such as community things. We might talk a bit about Air Twister as well.
Yeah, why not?
We'll go from there. So I'm going to dive as straight in. It's the big one. We were waiting for it. And it dropped on us a bit very, very, very quickly, actually, at the start of the year. Shenmue the Animation Season 1. We got a trailer on January 19th, 2022, with a release date in early February. Man, that was a roller coaster and a half. What did you think of it?
We loved the trailer, didn't we? We were really excited for it at the time, and God, it feels like a lifetime ago now, really. We just said like how fast time's going, but when you think all the way back to that first trailer, or at least this new one at the start of the year, anyway, it's crazy, really. It feels like we've had this in our hands for an eternity now, almost. It just feels a long time ago to me, anyway. When was actually that talk with Yu Suzuki and the Crunchyroll and all that sort of stuff? Was that last year? Was it?
That was October 2021, and that's they did the first trailer there, which obviously got everybody buzzing, and then it went a bit quiet, and then there was murmurs kicking around, and then they just dropped that trailer in January. And with the release date and everything, and it was really quick, really, really quick.
Yeah, well, if you think they've got the release date tailored for the 6th of February, so less than a month. It's literally like 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
It was all hands to the deck, wasn't it, really? We were all
bloody hell
trying to plan out what we were going to do coverage wise and all that sort of stuff, along with the excitement you've got for what the anime, how the adaptation's going to end up turning out. And obviously, we watched all 13 episodes, Matt, and it turned out great, didn't it?
You can't argue with it. I know there's some people who have some criticisms of it. I know, James, you, for example, the Guilin section, it was rushed. It was massively rushed. We know that. And when I spoke to Jason DeMarco, when I interviewed him, he did say they would have liked a 14th episode
which would have been perfect.
Slow that down. Yeah, that would have done it nicely.
You understand now why that episode feels rushed, because it was to a certain extent. So, but other than that, mate, I absolutely loved it from start to finish, especially diving in week by week with you and watching it for the first time with you, man. That was so much fun, and I hope at some point in the future we can do the same again with the season 2.
You'd hope so. I mean, we'll come on to what happened with season 2, what the current status is in a minute, but when you think about the anime and actually how successful it was,
despite what people would have you believe out there that haven't done the research,
despite what some will say on social media without looking at all the research and what is actually out there, Shenmue the Animation did really, really well. Best performing Crunchyroll Adult Swim original out of the 3 they had out at the time, beating out more established franchises. That's crazy, isn't
it?
Blade Runner, which actually looks all right, and I've watched one or two episodes, so I quite liked it.
Yeah.
Average viewing figures of 240k for the entire run on the first premiere run, which is mad. I mean, that's crazy. That's just on Adult Swim. Crunchyroll allegedly had 1 million views per video, or per episode rather. Which, I mean, I've got it's unverified. I haven't got it verified, unfortunately. But assuming that's true, that's crazy numbers.
Yeah, it's crazy numbers. I mean, you can kind of believe it, because I don't know how many people are actually subscribed to Crunchyroll, but I'm sure for some people that is their Netflix. They just go on Crunchyroll, they watch animes, brand new animes out, let's watch it. Shenmue, what's this? Watch it. So 1 million doesn't seem too unbelievable, really, when you consider how many people are actually subscribing to a service who want to check out fresh anime.
Yeah, and again, it got a second run on Adult Swim, was averaging about 130k viewers, which, just over
bad,
half.
Is it, really?
It's pretty good for a second run, and it got a second run pretty much immediately. I think it was a 2-week break, and then they ran it again.
Yeah.
Which says to me they had confidence in this thing.
I think, well, from what Jason was saying to you, Matt, they were pleasantly surprised how successful it, being the best of the three, beating out, these established brands like Blade Runner. And the second viewing run, I know some Shenmue fans are going to end up watching that, but to maintain 130k is really impressive. Maybe it's telling that it was successful on the first run, that people who had perhaps missed it or missed a few episodes waited around for the second run and caught up with it then, perhaps.
Quite possibly. It's bonkers that it did so well on that second run. We don't have numbers from Japan, unfortunately. I don't know why. They're a bit harder to track, but I'm led to believe it's done okay over there. So again, it was.
And that was on a few different platforms as well, wasn't it? From memory, it was on like TV channels and
4 or 5, wasn't it, that were kicking about. Plus, it was on like Amazon Prime streaming and some other streaming platforms over there as well. So it did really well. And Jason DeMarco said to me when I interviewed him, and I was lucky to have him on the show. And again, thank you, Jason, for coming on the show. It really made our day, and certainly gave the community real insight to how this thing came together. But it did really well. They were planning for the second season. He confirmed that Shenmue 3 would be about half of that season, which is crazy when Shenmue 3 does have some criticisms around the story, and people say it has no story. Well, there's enough there for half a season of anime.
Tells me they were planning to flesh it out more as well, perhaps, because half of what this would have been would be like 6 episodes, right? So 6 episodes dedicated to Shenmue 3, and they only did 5 for Shenmue 1. So there must have been some interesting ideas on the cards there, on the green room cutting floor or whatever they were doing, because obviously it was almost green lit, wasn't it? So
wow, yeah. And I'm led to think, and this is my assumption, and we're coming into what happened to it now, is that actually they were in pre-production for it. They were gearing up for second season, and then unfortunately on September 28th there was a tweet from Jason DeMarco confirming, unfortunately, that due to the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, Shenmue the animation was a casualty and was indefinitely cancelled.
Amongst other things as well.
Amongst other things, and I will cite the Batgirl film, $90 million written off. So what chance did Shenmue have at that?
Which is insane, really, when you think about the budget that everyone keeps going on about the original Shenmue games. Shenmue Online was like 20 million. Shenmue 3 was 10 million or whatever, but 90 million, that's like everything combined for Shenmue. They've just chucked away, haven't they? Just to give you a bit of perspective on things.
And it was really disappointing that they did this. I mean, Jason was very disappointed himself, and I did speak to him privately about it, and he just shared how disappointed he was, because
he's a fan as well.
He's a big fan, and he was absolutely instrumental in getting this thing off the ground in the first place, and it did so well. And new fans to the series are experiencing what we've experienced all those years ago. That it's just
stuck
been
in the cave,
stuck in the cave, and man, what this has done as well is left some issues. Right, we're no nearer to a home release, which is really disappointing. I know we picked up some bootleg copies because that's probably the only way that we're going to have anything at the moment. That may change, of course, and hopefully someone picks this up. From a preservation standpoint, there's no way you can watch the English dub anymore. That's terrible, worrying, isn't it? Yeah. That's really worrying.
Considering like how prolific the voice actors were for Shenmue as well, like Austin Timble,
Natalie Real, who I interviewed,
really big names in the anime scene, and you can't hear their voice acting work anywhere at the moment, which is a shame.
It's really sad, and I feel for them actually, because the ones that I interviewed, Joe Daniels is another one. they were all really passionate about it. They'd obviously put a lot of work and soul into this. So to see that pulled away from everybody so you can't see it, publicly at least, or through legal channels in inverted commas,
Yeah.
it's really sad. It's really, really sad. I mean, I don't know what the thinking is behind that, but hopefully they get a home release and it's on there, or some sort of deal can be threshed out that they can at least have it on catch up or something. But
Yeah,
we don't
I
know
hope
at this
so.
point.
I hope at least some sort of limited run company would like to take it on, if possible. I don't know who they'd have to strike a deal with, whether it be Sega or Crunchyroll or Adult Swim or whatever. But it would be nice. I mean, it's not off the cards, is it, the home release? But hopefully one day we will be able to actually go out of our way to buy a Blu-ray that features everything on both languages, and everyone's happy then, aren't they? Apart from not having that second season, but you never know.
And that feeds in actually a little bit to the merch. I know we're going to talk about merchandise separately, but Shenmue the anime
might as well go into stuff as we hit it, Matt.
Had some merchandise, which was really cool. There was obviously the campaign with the postcards as a starting point. James is showing some of those there right now.
Which is, I mean, it's crazy to think for like an American-born sort of animation, in terms of Jason DeMarco acquiring it for Adult Swim, Crunchyroll, that all the merch has been featured in Japan, really, isn't it? It's like there hasn't been a single piece of merch outside of Japan.
No, and it's really weird. I mean, when you think about it, the soundtrack, that's got a Japanese-only release.
There you go.
And you can still get it on Amazon Japan if anybody wants it, and it's about 30 quid.
And it's well worth it. It is well worth it, especially if you're a collector.
But they will disappear, and they will become really rare items. You've got the anime stamps and pin sets as well, which was Japan exclusive.
The stamps, really nice. Gorgeous item, actually. I love that artwork.
I love that artwork.
That's from obviously the ending of the ending credits. The pin set's really nice. Nice display box. And the pins are...
They're all right. I quite like them.
I love them. I think they did a really good job with that. And then obviously you've got the second set that comes with the hand towel.
Yeah.
Which I haven't got out the packaging, but you can kind of get the idea. It's got the logo. Nice little blue hand towel. But yeah, so that's literally all the merch we got.
It's mad that we haven't over here got statues, we haven't got DVD sets, we haven't got collector's editions. It makes no sense, because hardcore fans like you and I would pick up most of this stuff. Yep. Lots of Shenmue fans would buy the home release, just a standard Blu-ray or DVD without question. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they're leaving this money on the table. It makes no sense in my head.
One thing I forgot then, Matt, was the actual Sacred Spot guide.
Oh, yes, of course. I forgot about that. Which was
I'm sure you can pop an image of that up on the screen. But yeah, that was part of the actual campaign on Dobuita Street, which, it's amazing that the people who work on Dobuita Street and, the Yokosuka, I don't know who they are, events coordinators or whatever, put on these events because, of Shenmue's background in Dobuita and Yokosuka, and obviously the first game set there. So it's nice that they're fully behind the series in a sense, and able to get these merchandise items out there. Obviously we weren't able to actually go to Yokosuka to take part, but
no, unfortunately,
which would have been amazing. But it is nice to see that there is people passionate and wanting to put on stuff like that, which is really cool to see.
So yeah, we leave the anime on a bit of a downer. We don't know what's going to happen to it. Jason DeMarco has said maybe eventually things may change and get this merger out the way. Anything can happen. I mean, you do hear, for example, of other anime moving cross-platforms. So somebody like Netflix or Amazon Prime could buy it out and take it on from there. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen. It's whether deals can be done to get this thing back off the ground. It's such a crying shame, though, because the first season was so good. And then finally, with the anime, we have the hashtag, which was born out of, quite frankly, as doing what we do as Shenmue fans, which is start campaigning on social media for everything. So alongside the hashtag, let's get Shenmue 4 for the fourth game, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, we also have the hashtag Shenmue Anime 2, which we are tweeting on the 4th of every month and every opportunity in between. and we're going to be letting Warner Brothers Discovery, Sega, etc. know that this is unacceptable, what they've done here, unacceptable decision, and we will fight it all the way, and hopefully we get that second season down the line. So on the hashtag of Let's Get Shenmue 4, we come into what was our first really big Shenmue 4 rumour. 110 Industries, Shenmue 4. I don't know where this came from, but James, do you want to take us through it a little bit?
According to this, Matt, it was the 7th of April, right? Which, luckily, it's a week after the 1st, because if it was on the 1st, I would have thought it was a bit of an April Fool's joke. But no, it was the 7th of April, and 110 Industries actually teased Shenmue-related activities in response to an Instagram post. So I'm trying to think, what was the Instagram post? Can you remember?
So they put up a post of Kowloon for Wanted Dead, and someone tweeted something Shenmue related about it, and Yu Suzuki, and they basically turned around and said, "Why do you think he was in our video?"
Yeah, because that was the thing. That was like right at the end of last year, wasn't it? They had an interview that was on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Was it like a big hour-long video with like quite a few different Japanese?
Yeah, it had loads of them in it, and Yu Suzuki sort of headed up the front of it. He was the first one.
Yeah.
So they had that, and then this Instagram post, which was responded to. It then, you take these things with a pinch of salt, don't you, as Shenmue fans? Let's be honest about it. We do. So that came out and made some of the gaming websites. I then cheekily went to 110 Industries and said, basically, ha ha ha, this is really funny. Whatever. I can't remember the exact tweet, but I'll put it on the screen for everybody to see. And they just tweeted no comment at me, and then followed us, and their president followed us on Twitter.
So it was very hinty, very teasy. Everything they've been doing around this period. I think the social media guy may have been getting out of hand a little bit. I don't know who actually runs the social media aspect of things, but what ended up happening was within May, they put out an apple and banana tweet, didn't they? It was literally just an image of an apple and a banana.
Yeah.
And Shenmue fans, obviously, because we've just been teased quite heavily the previous month, we're looking at everything through the eyes of Shenmue fan, and obviously apple and banana is every day at Shenmue's house is your breakfast, isn't it? You pick it up on your way out of the house. There's literally an apple and a banana sat next to each other. So it's not hard to make that connection, considering nothing else makes sense for an apple and banana. And I think since then, I don't know if this is later in your notes, Matt, but he said the reason why that tweet was because he likes fruit or something. So remember that?
Yeah, so that was in a Discord chat, which someone mentioned that tweet at him, and he just said, "I like fruit," which I found quite funny and I think he was
taking the piss a bit, but I think you've got to make the Shenmue 3 connection there, haven't you?
You have, and it all lined itself up in the way it was done, from the original Instagram post to then that. And then they said they had a huge announcement which never materialized. They obviously then released the interview with Yu Suzuki in full, which was around the summertime, which good sort of 20-25 minute interview, which I guarantee you really good. You should watch this. It's really, really good. It's really good, informative. I'd love to see...
That's not the huge announcement, though, is it?
No, it's not the huge announcement. I'd love to see the B-roll, actually, from some of that, because I get the impression there was more, and for whatever reason, it hasn't come out.
And Wanted Dead was already announced, so it's not like Wanted Dead was potentially a huge announcement.
No, Wanted Dead was already out there. IGN are very much behind it, doing lots of promo work with it, etc. So it's very much in people's faces, in gamers' faces. And then later on, I think this was around May, June time, the rumours just didn't go away. And there was a tweet came out from the president of 110 with his working boots on, saying, "Let's get to work."
Is that like the cowboy boots?
Yeah. And he was in Japan. It even said where he was in Japan. And Nathan, everybody know 24 Nathan from the forums, we know Nathan very well, tweeted the hashtag "Let's Get Shenmue 4." 110 just said, "Eventually."
What we meant to believe, what we meant to think when, replies to tweets like that. It's very specific. He could have just turned around and said nothing, or said, oh, "Sorry guys, we're not involved," or whatever. But they didn't. They kept on teasing and making these sort of statements eventually, as though they're involved.
And this is the thing. If you're not involved, why not just kill it?
Yeah.
I know there's a theory out there around 110 using us as a bit of traction for Wanted Dead, which I can understand to a point. But I'll be honest, we're a very loud fan base. We're not a massive fan base in gaming, are we? But we're very passionate. So I don't know. We are not going to decide the fate of Wanted Dead,
Definitely
and it makes it even more odd that the tweet was deleted. They deleted the tweet 110 Industries. So
kind of like they've been asked to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like that have been a bit of a slap on the wrist sort of thing. Luckily, because we're Shenmue fans, this was screenshotted and chucked on our forums within minutes of this thing coming out. So I don't know. It's then it just kept going. GameJam confronted it and said to Yu Suzuki in an interview, what's this all about? And he said he was quite surprised that they were tweeting about something that they're not involved in or potentially not involved in.
Yeah.
So again, he didn't seem too impressed about it, did he? Really?
Things have kind of died down since then. So whether or not Yu Suzuki made a little phone call and said, guys, say if they are involved, for example, not to say they are, but just saying, for example, Yu Suzuki could be a little bit annoyed, saying like, we shouldn't really be doing this, guys, because we're lining up a massive announcement, and if you're revealing it a little bit, even though you're not, you're teasing it, it's probably not the right thing to do, perhaps.
It seems a little bit naive, knowing Shenmue fans. Now, Yu Suzuki will know what Shenmue fans are like. He's been around us for 20 odd years now. He's going to know that any smidgen of news, we are going to go
look
in
at the Forklift tweet he did, right?
Yeah.
That's a telling tweet. Everyone switched on, had their eyes on E3. Dreams were answered.
Exactly. So he will know what we're like. So whether there's a bit of naivety on 110's front around this teasing and what we're like as a community, possibly. But as you say, James, it's gone very quiet. There was the Discord Q&As where a couple of people asked questions around Shenmue 4. The Apple Banana tweet was asked about. He just said, I like fruit. Yeah. And somebody else asked if they were involved with Shenmue 4, and he said no comment at that point, just in text form. I'll put it on the screen so people can see it. And there was also a interview held around, I think, August, September time with I can't remember the name of the YouTuber now, but I will put his name in the description for everybody so you can see it, and there's a link to the video. And he's asked directly, the guy directly asks the president of 110 Industries, what's around Shenmue 4? Are you involved? And he gave it a bit of a wry smile and then sort of and ahed, and then said no comment, didn't he? So what's in that? Is there anything in that?
I don't know. We need a body expert, really, don't we? Body language expert. But what's interesting is that they keep saying no comment. I know it's Sergey, for the most part, saying this no comment, but why say no comment if you're not involved? Like, why not? It's like someone this is a really out there analogy, I suppose, but someone that's in like a court for murder or something, and they're being questioned, and they're just been told to don't answer any questions, to say no comment, no comment, no comment. You know what I mean? And they're not pleading innocent, and they're not pleading guilty. They're just they're just not talking about it at all.
Yeah.
But in doing that, it kind of it's like they are guilty in a sense, because otherwise they would have no reason to say no comment. They'd just say the truth, wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it is an interesting point.
It is. It's a very interesting point. And as you say, it's died down very much since the summer, despite the odd little comments here or there from people asking questions, and rightly so. So if they are involved in this, like you say, I suspect there's been a phone call going, you need to calm down a little bit here, because this is getting out of hand, and you know what the Shenmue community is like. So we just have to watch this space. I mean, I don't anticipate, if they are involved, I'm touching wood as I say this, because I'd love them to be involved, because I want to see where this goes. Wanted Dead comes out on February 14th. You're not going to hear anything about any other project, I don't think, until this is out there and they've got through that release window. Beyond that, who knows?
No, I agree with that. I think once that February the 14th thing is all the teasing hopefully will come, pardon the pun, to fruition. So we'll see what happens after that. Could just literally be nothing, and all the Shenmue fans are going to go out the way to buy Wanted Dead, and they're going to be sat there with all these wads of cash laughing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I have, on a side note, I have got Wanted Dead pre-ordered, because it does actually, aside of that, it does look like quite a good game.
You're part of the problem.
Part of the problem. Yeah, we'll see. But what excited me about it, whether this goes anywhere or not, this is our first real solid Shenmue 4 rumour, especially since I interviewed Cedric in 2020, and they'd obviously prototyped Shenmue 4 at that point, were pitching to publishers. So to then have this really solid rumour come out, I don't know, it whets the appetite, I think. I just hope something comes of it.
Well, you've got to think, you're coming up to 2023 now. That's 4 years since Shenmue 3 was released, albeit November. So come to the end of November. So it's just over 3 years, rather. I might as well say it like that, because we're closer to 3 than 4. But we are getting into that sort of period now where if Shenmue 4 is to be a thing, it needs to start revealing itself a bit now, if you know what I mean. Otherwise, we're getting into that sort of territory of like hiatus again, aren't we? Whereas like at the moment, we're rolling, animes come out, things are happening. We've got a shit ton of merch behind me that we're going to get into it a little bit more in a moment. So Shenmue's not on hiatus by any means, but we are reaching that sort of 4th year where hopefully a Shenmue 4 anything starts to happen.
Yeah, and we just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing for that, and it's something that we'll talk about at the end of this video. But I'm going to move us on. This is a bit of community news, but I think it's quite a big piece of community news here. James, you were quite involved in this project. GameJam Beta, Shenmue 2.
Yes.
Show off the discs first and foremost.
So there's the discs. These were these found by Laurent, I think. So Laurent found these discs. GameJam build. So if anyone's unfamiliar, this was a game show press conference sort of thing back in, was that 2001?
Yes,
I'm guessing.
Would have been.
Yeah. So I think it was April time. They were just unveiling the latest build of Shenmue 2 at the time before it was actually released. And there's some really interesting things on there. Lemon Hayes and other members of the team actually dug into the files that were on the disc to compare it to the final release of the game, and they found like quite significant differences. Me and Matt, obviously, we played a little bit of it on stream and showed off some of these differences. And the major one that was like hilarious to see was there was actually a Yu Suzuki model in the game that you could literally play the whole game as Yu Suzuki, but in a Ryo Hazuki's jacket, jeans. It's really cool to see. If you've not seen it, guys, definitely check it out, or download the beta and have a go yourself, because it's really fun to actually play as Yu Suzuki and have these conversations and all sorts.
It's all out there, and we'll put the links in the YouTube description for everybody to download it, and possibly a way of getting it running as well. So, but one of the things with this Yu Suzuki model, before we go into some of the really nitty-gritty discoveries, and one real big one, is actually they modelled him differently to Ryo, as they made him a bit shorter, bit bigger built, and obviously took the time to build this model properly.
And the face is actually very accurate, isn't it, really, at the time? Yu Suzuki's face, and like you say, he's a bit stubbier, a bit more, because obviously Ryo's skinny, tall, and muscular, and I'm not saying Yu Suzuki isn't, but they've tailored the model towards the way that Yu Suzuki looks, basically. But it's really cool, really fun.
It is, and again, it was quite hilarious seeing Yu Suzuki running around Hong Kong,
and having a can of
Jet Cola, beating people up, and all the rest of it. But we then sort of come into the really, really nitty-gritty detail of this GameJam Beta here. Now, one of the sort of holy grails of Shenmue is Meow Village.
Yep.
It's up there with the Saturn build. It's up there with Shenmue Online, isn't it? Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. We'd love a playable build of Meow Village. We didn't get that, but what we did get was a massive detail around what was going on there.
Yeah, because up until this point, we'd always assumed it was screenshots of Shenmue 3, didn't we?
Yeah.
It looked like potentially what would become Bailu Village. But obviously, from this build of the game, what we did learn and what people like Shenmue's Switch over at Phantom Riverstone found in the coding, Landy C as well, and the dialogues, the translations of the conversations, is it was actually linked to the Hong Kong part of Shenmue 2. So much so it's like, it's that, there's like a dead end, isn't there, at Southcore main quarter? And we'd always wondered, like, what was the point of that? You go downstairs, go around the corner, and there's a dead end. It actually linked like a bit of a dirt path, heading to a rural village called Meow Village. And some of the findings there was really cool. There's extra volumes of the Wunin Shoe, these extra wood. There was originally like 7 wood or something.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. They found this in the code, and it begs the question when they cut it, because if it's still in that state to that point in that GameJam Beta, when did they cut it? You suspect it was quite a while ago, but if there's any earlier builds out there, I suspect that was broadly playable.
If we can unearth any builds of Shenmue 2 betas prior to this, basically, so you're looking at April 2001, if there's any build of the game prior to that date, there's always a chance that Meow Village could be there.
And that would be insane to have that. That would be tick off one of the holy grails alongside the Saturn build and Shenmue Online. And James, you just mentioned this already. Shenmusings.com has done a wonderful, massively detailed guide of I don't know how many different comparisons between the final build release.
There's so many, to be fair, really, that considering how close it was to release, that there's so much they had to still change, like signs, translations, and just loads of things. Obviously, there's some bugs in this build still that still needed to be ironed out, and obviously, Shenmusings has detailed all that in great detail. Dedicated a whole website to it, actually.
Absolutely, cool. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's more in there in terms of differences that we haven't talked about yet. So make sure, guys, that you check that out because it's well worth the read. So coming into, and we've sort of touched on this already, we got a hell of a lot of merchandise this year for Shenmue. It was crazy. Obviously, we've just done the anime merch and gone through some of that. But we also got our LP sets from Limited Run Games, which I know we'd been waiting on for quite a long time. And I have to say, as you're bringing these up, and it's a massive
heavy
box.
One. Yeah.
I have to say,
I was fitting on the camera.
It is. I was really impressed with it. I was really impressed with everything in it and the artwork that's in there, and
you've got.
And the quality of it.
Got like a signed poster thing by Suzuki that's in there.
Yeah.
You've got a nice sort of booklet with liner notes and imagery. I won't go into that. And how many records we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 vinyl records.
And they've all got their individual artwork on them.
Yeah,
it's a collector's dream, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't for the bank balance, but
but it just shows like Shenmue's out there, guys. It's not going away, is it? We're still getting these merch items, which is amazing to see, considering the lack of news. So it helps just to maintain Shenmue's name in some capacity. Obviously, we've got the little CD soundtracks versions. I think there's 6 CDs because obviously you can fit more music on the CDs, but you can see each one's got a different character on there. Beautiful, really cool set. Obviously, these single versions of the big box sets there. One for Niaowu, one for Bilo, which is cool. And a what's this? What was this called? Like an arranged.
Oh yeah, it's like a selection, wasn't it?
Selection, yeah. So this is a double gatefold release of like I guess the hits.
Yeah.
of Shenmue. And this particular one is actually the
Glow in the Dark.
The Glow in the Dark one, yeah.
Which I failed to show on my unboxing, which we'll never talk about ever again. Yeah. Which was quite funny. But again, this is a ton of merchandise. And then hot off the heels of this one, we finally got the Shenmue 3 Complete Collector's Edition.
There you go.
From Limited Run Games. Now, we were waiting on this a long time. I did an unboxing of it. I'll put the link in the YouTube for everybody so you can see it. Overall, I was quite happy with it. I was a little bit disappointed in the sort of poster bits that, I don't know, felt a bit flimsy, didn't they?
Yeah.
But on the flip side of things, the Sword of Seven Stars in that thing was
amazing.
Beautiful. And also you got Chobu-chan and Bailu-chan little models, which I really loved. And I can see one of yours on one of your shelves. There you go.
Just hiding there. The Bailu-chan's at the top there. I should have had the sword out. I'm sure Matt can throw up an image of that.
Yeah, I should have got it down.
That is the best.
That is, it's
item in the box for me.
Beautiful item. Really weighty, actually, that sword as well, considering. I was surprised.
It's like a letter opener, isn't it? That kind of
It is very much like a letter opener. So we were very keen to get hold of those, and generally speaking, definitely didn't disappoint in any way, shape, or form. But it didn't stop. It didn't stop. We got ourselves then a nice Ryo Hazuki statue.
There you go, guys. I've got everything to hand.
And this is from Numskull.
Very nice statue, this actually.
And it retailed about £90 on release, and I think if it's still in the sale by the time this comes out, it's around 62 quid at the moment.
Is there like a Christmas sale on, I think?
There
or
is,
end
yes.
Of year?
Yes.
So, depending on when you're listening to this, guys, double check the Sega shop. There's always discounts going on anyway, so it's definitely one to buy. I mean, the detail on the statue is really cool. You've got heartbeats, coasters. You've even got the little box of matches, like the actual branding of the matches. Rio looks quality, to be honest. I know there was a few people complaining a little bit about the face. Mine's not too bad, actually. But overall, I love it.
I was really impressed with it, and when you
spilt milk.
Yes, milk's perfect for a schoolboy. When you compare it to the limited run, or the First Figures rather, getting my names confused here, the First Figures model of Rio, I actually prefer the jacket on the Numskull version.
On this one.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks more in game, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But then I think the face on the First Figures is probably
Definitely
slightly better. So it's swings and roundabouts really. But again, it was a really surprising.
It's not too bad quality wise either. It feels nice. It's got a bit of weight to it. Not as heavy as the First figures. Or as tall, obviously, because they're a little bit taller, probably about that high. But I like the stance. I really like how detailed everything is on the figure. I believe they were hand painted, right?
I'm not sure.
Making that up.
I'm not sure. I'd have to check that.
They've also got like a little bit of a
spilt beer or something.
Yeah, which is a nice effect as well. It just adds to the detail. A lot of effort's gone into that.
Absolutely, and we were quite lucky that over the summer we managed to get one from Sega Shop to give away. They were very kind. Darren over there, who's been absolutely amazing with us, and has all my thanks in the world for working with us on these giveaways. We gave one away, and it was absolutely awesome to see that given away, and what a product. And I was, like I say, really impressed with it. And then we come on to the last bit of merch, certainly not least, bit surprising this one, but we got ourselves a Shenmue pin badge. So people may remember that design from the coin that was done. What was that, 2019? That was done, the coin.
Sounds about right. Was that the Shenmue 1 line merch? Yeah.
With the t-shirts and the poster, etc. That was the pin of the month for Sega Shop. So we ordered.
That was November, wasn't it?
Yes, I think.
Was it October?
It was October. Because I just got back from Florida, and I ordered a shed load of them like you did because it was pin of the month. So we got.
Well, they were $1.99, weren't they, or whatever? So.
So we've given a load of those away as well. And again, Sega Shop gave us some to give away as well. I have to say, the pictures of it don't do it justice for me.
Yeah, it's a lot better. It's obviously it's metal for a start. I don't know if you can pick that up. Really nice. It is almost like a coin actually that happens to be a pin. Perhaps not that thick in terms of thickness, but it's got a nice weight to it, and I think, like you say, Matt, it's a decent quality really. I'm quite pleased with it.
Yeah, I was surprised by it actually. Once I got it in hand and unboxed the thing, I was genuinely impressed with it. I mean, I guess, I'll hope, we'll get some more Shenmue merch next year. Is there anything particular that you want for Shenmue merch other than the anime stuff, obviously?
I thought you were going to say other than mirrors. We always want replica mirrors, don't we? Like
Yeah.
full-size replica mirrors. That would be the dream item. Other than that, Matt, I think we're pretty much covered. I would like more figures. Say if like Sega Shop are planning to do a bit of a line of these, maybe we could get. I suppose the next obvious one would be Landy, but I would like to see a Shenmue, a proper Shenmue, because we haven't really had one of those. We've had a little doll thing from the premiere event that doesn't really do it justice. So a nice Shenmue figure, sorry, maybe on the cliff edge, overlooking the cliff. Maybe you could have a little eagle somewhere. I don't know how they do that, but just greenery, Guilin base, flowers, perhaps dandelions or something. Just something to represent what Shenmue is. But I could just, if they were going to do one, it'll be Landy, won't it? In, I don't know, on a dojo base again, or I don't know.
I hope they do Shenmue, because as you say, the Premier model's nice.
I'll tell you what would be cool if they were to do a Landy figure hanging off a helicopter. That'd be pretty cool.
Put me down. Put me down for a few now. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome.
So yeah, Sega Shop, if you're watching, there you go.
You want to do a Landy statue next, just to go for Shenmue 2. So you've got the Chiyu Men helicopter with the logo on the side of the helicopter with a ladder, and the ladder can be like the stick thing that sticks into, I don't know, whatever hits the floor. Maybe just Landy. No, how would it hold? That's the only thing you've got to come up with an answer there.
Make it structurally sound.
Structurally sound, but the ladder hanging off, yeah. I'm sure there's a way.
There's a way, but if you're watching, guys, Sega Shop, you know what you need to do, or a Shenmue statue, because the Premier statue's nice, but as you say, I don't think it quite does her the justice that we'd hoped for. But we'll see for merch for next year. But there's been plenty of it, again, showing that Shenmue isn't dormant, it's not dead. Things are still happening. Moving forward into a couple of other little bits here before we sort of touch on something non-Shenmue related, but all interesting all the same.
Yep.
We got Shenmue 3 on PlayStation Plus. This is worldwide on the premium tier.
Still available
right now. So if you're on there and haven't played Shenmue 3 yet, and you've got the premium tier of PlayStation Plus, you can grab it now for free, play it to your heart's content. The first two games aren't on there for some reason. I presume that's because of a deal with Sega hasn't been sorted out, which is a shame because it should be a no-brainer to put all three of them on there in my mind. Yeah. But there we go. That was announced on June the 13th. Bit of a announcement out of the blue. Came out of nowhere, really.
Nice to see, though. Just allows more people to play Shenmue 3. Obviously, with Shenmue 3, you've got the digest movies, so I suppose you don't have to play 1 and 2 if you haven't. If you're watching us, I don't know why you'd be watching us, because going into some details here that probably don't mean anything to you, but if you are watching us and you've not played any of the series and you're interested, pick up Shenmue 3 on PS Plus there, and it does come with a digest movie of what happens in 1 and 2. Obviously, It's better to play 1 and 2, but if you've got no other options, I don't think 1 and 2 are still on Game Pass, are they? I think they took them off.
No, they came off a while ago.
Yeah. If you've got a decent PC, though, there's always huge discounts on PC. In fact, I don't know if that's still going, Matt, but there was that one the other day. It was like £11 for all three games.
Yeah, for all Steam. 3 games on Steam PC, guys. You'd be mad not to. And actually, I think it was on PlayStation Store not too long ago for about £12 as well.
Yeah, similar
all 3
pricing.
Games. So there's no excuse here. If you haven't played the series before, you're new to it from the anime, and you're wanting to play the game series, there's no excuse when there's good sales.
Or get a friend involved. If you've got a mate, you can gift with Steam, can't you? So just pick them up, gift them to him, force him to play them. Well, I was going to say gunpoint. Don't do that. But just
encourage them
politely. That's a nice way of doing it. Offer them a tenner.
Offer them a tenner and a free game. Moving on very quickly, I'll do some community bits and pieces. A Gamer's Journey, the documentary by Adam Scipione, etc. That got a digital release for Kickstarter backers only. And a physical release isn't too far away, and they seem to have negotiated a streaming release outside of the Kickstarter, which is fantastic.
That's good. Yep.
We've seen it. If you haven't watched it, didn't back it, when it gets out here, if you can get a physical copy or watch it on streaming platforms, absolutely go and do. It is an absolute love letter to Shenmue, and the documentary is absolutely fantastic. It's well worth having a watch of.
You've
I know
got
they've
some
had
excellent behind the scenes footage as well.
some spoilery bits in there as well, so just be aware of that. They have had some issues with the Kickstarter and getting things over the line, but it looks like now, fingers crossed, that will be accelerating into the final stages early of 2023. Another bit, the Kitchen Brothers just keep pumping out insane music and videos. This is all originally written music using Shenmue instruments that they have sourced from back in the day. They use them and create original Shenmue music, and then put stories with other characters to them. Awesome pieces of work. Again, if you haven't checked those out, make sure you check out Joseph Kitchen Fried Noodles on YouTube.
Definitely
all
worth
of those. And
highlighting how the quality of their videos is insane.
Absolutely mad. And that's not to undersell the others out there. I mean, you look at Richard Cartledge's work, fantastic. You look at Rio X's work, is absolutely insane as well. There's a band that you've just put on Superpass as well,
Survival Spheres.
Again, they've done their own sort of renders of certain areas and put music to it that they've written themselves. Again,
everyone, honestly, awesome. Everyone is consistently producing high quality Shenmue fan content. It's a testament to the community. You know, you've got fan art every single day almost on Twitter. There's just so much. There's such a wealth of great, talented individuals that are Shenmue fans. It is mad. I don't know if there's any other game series out there that's got so many consistently strong. Maybe it's the game. Maybe the game is. It needs that sort of intelligent, intellectual kind of mindset to understand. And all these people are so amazing, so smart and crazy that they can. You've got Richard there playing the piano so effortlessly, and Joe and George and all these different individuals are just insane talents.
Pump this stuff out, and that's without even talking about the fan art, which there is reams and reams and reams of the stuff. I mean, Koji and Sliver of Sand are two that instantly come to mind on that as well. So make sure you check out their artwork, and you can check out their artwork. That is an awesome segue in here to Shenmue World Issue 2. James, do you want to talk about that and the Kickstarter and how it all went?
Yeah, I mean, you might have to throw some graphics up because I've not got any to hand, but obviously Issue 2 the magazine came out this year. I can't even remember when was that. I think it was February, March time we were doing the actual Kickstarter, and again, successful. Amazing to see the Shenmue community come out in force to help get that over the line. Meant that we could create every item that I wanted to. We got a Blu-ray from the Gang Entertainment guys, released the trilogy of the Shenmue, the Gang Edition movies on Blu-ray, which is amazing that's out there to all these Shenmue fans now. Corey Marshall got involved. We got signed prints from him. Just a wealth of individuals again coming together to create stickers, Titch Life, Sunem Nobu. I'm trying to reel out everything that was included. There's so much stuff included. The Luna's art cards are amazing. I'm so pleased with how they came out. You've got the Junichi who did the actual cover of Issue 2 of Shenmue World. Obviously there's a poster included there, and just some of the content inside, interview with Corey Marshall, interview with Osamu Murata. It just came together really well, and I'm so pleased for how it actually did turn out in the end. And my intention, and I suppose this is kind of a New Year's resolution, is to start working on Issue 3 as early as next month, hopefully. We'll see how it goes, time permitting. But yeah, I'd like to get underway with Issue 3. And hopefully we can get a Kickstarter going for that and make that a success as well, and then get them all printed. It's going to be a good year next year, I think. I'm very hopeful, not just for Shenmue World, but for other aspects of Shenmue. Shenmue 4 is the dream, obviously, but I am hopeful that 2023 is going to bring a lot of this stuff to the Shenmue fans who have been waiting.
Fingers crossed that we do. So before we sort of come into the end of year message and our hopes and thoughts for next year, there's one other thing that came around And it's not actually
Air
Shenmue
Twister.
related, is our friend Air Twister, which came out of nowhere. Again, very Shenmue-like at the moment.
Yeah.
It got announced on May the 31st and released on June 24th. So that's about 3 weeks as well.
Which is probably the best way of doing it, really.
Yeah, just get it out there. It was ready to go. It's an Apple Arcade exclusive. Whether that will change or not, I don't know. And James, you've been following these updates more than I have, in fairness. It's had multitudes of updates since release, probably one a month, if I would say, on average. If
I would
not
say so,
slightly
yeah.
less.
Yeah, perhaps at least once every 2 months since release. There's been sort of an ongoing event going on there where you can collect all these different costumes. There's so many costumes now. You've got Halloween ones. Sorry, I don't know if I'm actually showing that off.
Yeah,
there's so many amazing costumes that they've gone out of the way to design, and these were unlockable in events. Weapons, you've got the witch's broomstick there for Halloween. So they've had ongoing events. They've had one that just finished, I think it was the 23rd of December. And I was half expecting a Christmas update. There hasn't been an update since. But yeah, I fully expect perhaps another update. I mean, we were sort of pondering what the actual plan was for this. So if this came out, did you say released on June the 24th?
Yeah.
So say you'd hope there'd be at least a year sort of exclusivity deal perhaps there, and so there's a year that they're sort of tied into designing extra content perhaps. So I think we're going to see a lot more updates to Air Twister over the coming months. So if you're a fan of this, if you haven't tried this, definitely keep an eye out for what's to come with Air Twister.
Damn good game. Very much like Panzer Dragon and Space Harrier combined, if anybody's interested in that sort of thing. Very much worth playing, and James is showing it off a little bit there as well.
I'll just show it off while you just talk about the next little aspect.
Put some footage up as well.
Footage as well, yeah.
So we then come into the Yu Suzuki end of year message. So Famitsu every year interview a number of Japanese developers. This year it's 141 of them. So it's a lot of them, and they ask them about the New Year's resolutions, what their plans are, etc. for the upcoming year. So Yu Suzuki's end of year message, the keyword he had was light AI or artificial intelligence. We'll talk a little bit more about what that is in a minute. He said the ambition for 2023 is to try approaching AI with a light heart, but without overtaking logic of thought. Answers derived by imperfect AI, including bugs, should be fun. It makes me think of some of the AI bugs in Shenmue 1, where they all
get stuck
in tomato store and can't get out. Yeah. And there's one in Shenmue 3 where they all walked into the lake, I think.
Okay.
Which is quite funny.
Sounds familiar.
I will go on a journey to find new ideas using AI. Recent report, what they've been doing. In 2022 released a new work, Air Twister, from Apple Arcade. In 2023 I'm also involved in character supervision for a project called Oasis, which, for those of you who aren't aware of it, and this is slightly controversial, certainly in Western circles, it is a game based around NFTs, non-fungible tokens. They, over here and in the West, a lot of companies have announced them, taken an absolute battering on social media, and have then been quietly cancelled. They seem to be a bit more widely accepted in Japan, when there's also sort of big names out there like Sega, Bandai Namco rather, and Square Enix involved with them. So it looks like a side project for Yu Suzuki. It's not tied to WiseNet, but there is I think some people would raise a question mark over it potentially. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's not something I'm particularly au fait with, but it's already there. And he said, things to watch in 2023. I have great expectations for the evolution of AI technology, the appearance of entertainment with visual images that surpass human imagination, and the efforts to find original value in digital data. So I suppose my biggest question is, was there any Shenmue related stuff in there? I mean, you're scratching really far down the barrel here with the NPC stuff to relate it to the Shenmue NPCs and their schedules, etc. But it seems very cards close to the chest.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if you think about what's happening currently, leaps and bounds in terms of AI, obviously you've got the AI artworks that have just taken shape. Again, another sort of controversial topic for, people like Koji and all these Shenmue fan
Yeah,
artists that
yeah,
actually hand draw
all this
artwork.
stuff. Yeah.
But obviously a lot of these AI concepts are coming into play where they're generating artworks that are seemingly almost as good as hand drawn stuff, which is crazy. How the AI is sort of taking knowledge and bits and pieces from across the globe really to create these images and stuff. And there's also AI voice to speech
Yeah.
or text to speech, which is happening. I know for some of my uni work, I've been trying to find like decent text to speech. And there's one site that's got like Gwyneth Paltrow, who
Okay.
you can like copy and paste something, and the AI, even though she's not actually probably said these words in her life, is somehow saying them as her. So it depends what Yu Suzuki's actually thinking about in terms of AI. Obviously, he says light AI, so he's just sort of dipped his toes into it. But could he be planning some of the stuff for Shenmue? One of the things I was thinking about, which I don't know how I'd feel about it, but say if say like voice actors are going to get replaced by AI, and he can kind of tailor Shenmue's conversations. Perhaps you speak to a character, and it's creating a conversation just on a whim. Do you know what I mean? So they don't have to input loads of text in the game, loads of different. So you keep going back to the, in Shenmue, if you get an update in your notepad and go back to a character, they say something different. Maybe he's thinking of like ways of how to just create that without doing any of the legwork. Like the AI forms it, and then these voices. You've got Gwyneth Paltrow coming out of Shenfar's mouth. So it'd be interesting to see what he actually means. And we did notice, Matt, was it? I think it was the end of 2020 when he said about the space shooter, and obviously that took 2 years to actually
come.
What's that word? Yeah, come
to fruition. Yeah.
Come to fruition again. There's that word again. So it may not be next year that we see what his plans are with AI. It could take a year or two, but it could be something he's planning for Shenmue 4 to maybe make the creation of Shenmue 4 easier to some extent.
We just have to see where this goes, I guess. I mean, we also haven't had the 4Gamer version of this as well, as of us recording this right now. So if that does come out, of course, we'll put out a news post, or I'll do a video on it just to summarize what's come out in that as well. So keep your eyes out for that. But it's very interesting. We'll see where it takes us in terms of Shenmue, whether it's related or not. But it's very, very cards close to the chest, this one. The Air Twister stuff, when you think 2020, 2021, actually what he said in terms of like shooter in 2020, 2021, he said mix, which is like mix of artists, etc. And it all,
I suppose was working with the Valencia guy, perhaps.
Yeah. So it all sort of came together for Air Twister, but there's nothing quite as on the surface anyway as obvious as those this time around. So we'll just see how that develops and where we go into 2023. And that actually kind of leads us and segues us into what we hope and think for, or what we want for Shenmue in 2023. I mean, James, did you want to go first? Any thoughts on that?
Like we kind of said earlier, I'd like to see what's going to happen, if anything, with the 110 rumours. Say if we wait till February the 14th happens, Valentine's Day, in fact, for Wanted Dead. I am going to pick that game up regardless, and see where that takes us, I suppose. See if anything actually stems out of that in terms of Shenmue 4 happening with that company. I mean, this is their first game, I'm led to believe, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how successful the game is first, how what the credentials of the company are in terms of what their plans are for the future. I know that they're trying to do a lot of things, actually, that maybe they're trying to do too much, because they're doing a movie, aren't they? I think for Wanted Dead, some sort of a live action movie. They've signed an artist, and Sergi's just been actually showing off a CD of this lady artist. So it's not just games that they're focusing on; they focus on movies, music. So it'd be interesting to see what the future of 110 Industries actually holds after Wanted Dead's released in terms of games, whether or not that means a Shenmue 4. Obviously, the major doubt at the moment is the anime season 2 is a bigger doubt than a Shenmue 4, which is crazy to say just because of what we've been told by Jason, and even in recent times, Jason's still saying it's not hopeful that there's going to be a second season. So we're kind of putting all of our eggs into the Shenmue 4 basket, aren't we, and seeing what happens in terms of the future there. And then obviously just maybe some more merchandise items gradually. Just from what we've talked about, Matt, I mean, it's been quite a busy year for Shenmue, considering that, well, we did have the anime. I was going to say nothing's been released, but obviously we did get the anime at the start of the year. But, very, very light on Shenmue 4, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but despite that, there's been quite a lot that we've spoken about. So whether or not 2023 holds just as much, obviously we want more.
We do, and sort of feeding off of those thoughts, I think 2023 is a big year for Shenmue. Whether Shenmue 4 gets announced or not, I don't know what will happen going forward, but I have this inclination in my gut that actually something needs to happen now. As you say, we'll be 4 years off of Shenmue 3 come November 2023, and you are starting to board it into that hiatus again. Now, the anime may prolong things, because obviously we're only a year out for the anime being released, so that's Shenmue still fresh, I guess, in people's minds. But that freshness will disappear as time goes on, potentially, and then we end up in the hiatus stage, be it with Shenmue 4 or Season 2 of the anime. And that does worry me a little bit as a fan, considering how much fighting we had to do to get ourselves to Shenmue 3. But I think this is where the community really needs to play its part here. And I know
if you remember, Matt, that episode of the podcast we did with Peter, I think he was saying if we reach the end of this year, he would really have some doubts about what's happening. And we have reached that point now, haven't we? So
I think had it not been for the anime, I think we'd be maybe a bit more negative around where things are at this point. And also we had the major rumours with 110, so had we had none of that, I think we'd be in a very different situation. But it still feeds in for me that the community here, and I know we've done this before, that we fought for Shenmue 3 and we got it, but if we don't fight for the continuation of the series going forward, we will not get it. Honestly, it's not rocket science. It really isn't. And I appreciate it's hard. I appreciate that we've done it before, and we've got to dust ourselves down and do it again. Because if we don't, that's it. We won't get anything. We need to show the people out there, not just 110 Industries, but we need to show Sega, Warner Brothers, all these people out there, that this is a passionate fan base with a viable future to go forward.
Relentless.
Relentless is definitely the word. So for me, I think 2023 is a big year. And if we don't get anything or any sort of real hints of a Shenmue 4 by the end of 2023, we are, as I say, going into that hiatus stage, and that does worry me. But I'm looking forward to see what could come. Could this could this 110 stuff actually come to fruition? Could something come out of this? Could somebody else pick it up? And where's the future of the anime going to lie? And will we get a home release? And that's on top of merchandise. I'm pretty sure we'll get some Shenmue merch across the year. I just don't know what it's going to be. But as we said, Landy statue, Shenfar statue, take my wallet, take my money, and I'll buy it all.
Replica mirrors, Shenmue notebook. Christmas jumper.
Yeah, the lot, absolute lot. So guys, that takes us to the end of our New Year's message and year in review for Shenmue. As I say, it's definitely been a year of two halves with Shenmue, with an absolute rip-roaring start with the anime and the Shenmue 4 rumours. Lots of merchandise coming out, but then we sort of tapered off at the end of the year, and it's been relatively quiet for a couple of months. Hopefully 2023 brings us that Shenmue 4 announcement. I just want the announcement. Just let us know it's coming. Anything else we can worry about later, just let us know it's coming.
Just a game show with the title Shenmue 4.
That'll do.
2024. Oh, okay.
That'll do nicely.
Yeah.
But for now, guys, thank you as always for dropping in on our content, dropping on the social media, the forums, streams, whatever it is you've been following us over the last year. We greatly appreciate it, and obviously we make this content for you, but without you, the dojo doesn't exist, we don't keep going. So thank you guys so much for dropping in, and all remains for me is to say it's a goodbye from me.
Yeah, it's a goodbye for me. And I just want to say you can extend this discussion over on the forums or on the Discord that we set up, Matt, which you can drop a link in the description there. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See how the future. Maybe you can put up Lapis, sort of future ball. Maybe put Shenmue 4 in the ball.
Yeah, why not? So everybody, guys, take care. Have a good New Year, and James and I will see you in the not too distant future. Take care. Have a good one.
Cheers.